Hello and welcome to another Minecraft building video. Don't know why I said that so dramatically. So I wanted to do something really big, and I even went to the extent of getting some world edit bullshit. And I wanted a floating sphere, and then I did a bit of terraforming, you know, 'cause not all of the ground is just solid stone. There is also quite a bit of dirt. I possibly did a bit too much dirt, but I wanted to break it up because I knew that there was going to be a lot of stone involved later on in the build. I then went around and just plopped some lava down to light up the base to make it like stand out a lot more, and two, because lava. And also you would probably find the lava, you know, dipping around somewhere. Then I did this massive staircase which fit perfectly in line with my nether portal. I made it a very big staircase, very big and elegant staircase, using this smooth quartz and the stone stairs. Then I went in and added pillars of stone bricks because, well, it looked good. I liked it, I thought it looked good. It structured the staircase quite nicely without adding too much bulkiness to it. And started with this dimension. Now, when I say floating, I mean that this island was literally wanting to look like it was floating, so it needed the anchors and the support on the stairwell. I then was thinking about doing this quartz staircase, or the quartz sector here, and then I just decided against it because I didn't like it as much. So then I just plopped on some smooth stairs. So this was literally pretty much my first time trying to make anything using world edit. So there's probably a lot of things that I could have done differently. But I'm still learning here. So then I went and I did a circle that was too small. Then I did a circle that was too big. And then I did one circle that was just right, but then I wanted another one, so I made another one on the outer ring of that, just to give it a too thick wall for what I planned on doing later on. I then started on these guard towers that would be going around the edge. I used the quartz for that because I wanted them to be very bright and stand outish, like, hey, we have these guard towers, you know, we are watching you, you know, you're not going to be able to sneak up. And so then I just filled it in with the stone so that it would match into the actual build, because I didn't want it to just be the quartz. Then I used the half slabs for the roof, one so that mobs can't spawn on top of it, and two so that there's just something about using slabs for a roof. It adds that height that just looks right. I mean, in some cases it doesn't look right, you know, it looks too short, but in most cases where you want a perfectly flat roof, it works really well. I do actually go around and do it on the entire wall towards the end of the video, but we'll get to that when we get to that. I then went and got rid of that tower, added my zebra crossing there. I then went out, figured out how big I wanted my building to be. I think I had it like Oh, what did I have it at? I don't even remember. Rude phone. Yeah, this is a very, very big square. And instinctively, I chopped it up, got to the center point, because I wanted that center point for a cylindrical shape in the center that was going to go up past the height of the main build. So I made it extremely tall. And as you can see later on, once I take down all of this, because apparently I'm still inept at using my world edit, I really should have just yeah, I'm still getting used to that. I then like quartered it off just so it would make my life slightly easier, and then made this into a really big like central gazebo entranceway, whatever you want to call it, and I plan to do a rooftop area that would be like a very specific area. It was originally going to be a throne room, but then I changed my mind later on, and you'll see what I changed it to. I then went down and popped a roof on this son of a gun. No, I did an interior wall. Keeping you on tiptoes. Yeah, I did this interior wall to basically encase the cylinder later on. For some reason I couldn't get it to do what I wanted, and then I managed to get it to do what I wanted, and I felt very happy. I thought it looked really good, having the stone just encasing the quartz. I might have changed the quartz earlier on to white concrete, but because I had already been starting to use quartz slabs, quartz staircases, quartz blocks, by the time I thought to incorporate white concrete okay, so after stopping being a lazy piece of shit and actually editing my video like a normal human being, I started... What is this? Ah, yes, the internal wall, the internal external walls pillars, which were going to be staircases to the upper floors, with a view / tower, just a bit of extra protection. So I made them slightly higher than the outer wall, you know, just enough to look over, but not really too much higher, because then I would have had to have made the central piece even higher, and it was already going to be big enough by the time I was done with it. As I was saying, there was at least 3 hours that I didn't record, and then an extra 7 hours on top of that. A long time when you think that I've never used World Edit before. So then you can see I just popped down the blocks that I wanted. This is a fucking 50-minute long video still. Oh my god. Sorry, I'm just losing my will to live slightly. I then went and installed 2 of the shorter guard towers, because I wanted a bit of height dimension, which you'll see go on as I add the roof and the upper area. I then go and copy that and plop it onto the other side as well. Removing the internal glass, because of course internal glass really is not going to be necessary when it's covered up anyway by the inside. I don't know if that made any sense whatsoever. Anyway, I really just want to get this fucking build done at this point, so I don't know what I'm doing. I'm making another cylinder. I made it a bit too high, or I thought I made it a bit too high. I did not make it high enough because then I went and added more stuff when I was done. So once I had done that, I kept these segments. I didn't do them all the way up right this minute. I think I go on to do them a bit higher later on. No, I don't actually. They get to stay at that height. Now, because this was a very blocky build, besides the circular wall, I needed to find a way to make this build not look quite so square, and I found that if I used white concrete to segregate some areas, it gave this nice prospect, I guess, of not all being the same piece. I also did the outer layer, the outline of the roof in this white concrete. Again, creating different heights, different levels, different segments, just so that when you were looking at it from the top down, it did look like it was just these separate buildings that all came together to somehow magically form this square. And also just to pop a bit of dimension onto the outer wall, as you saw around those edges and stuff. And then I do a simpler process on the bottom. I don't know what I was trying to do here. What? Oh no, I must have been one block too many inwards. But this white concrete around the bottom, again, for the aesthetic of being less boxy, if that makes sense. So by creating more boxes around the outskirts, it gave the build a bit more of a dimension and a bit more shape. And here I am adding, I can't see because my microphone recording box is in the way, some white concrete because I wanted this bit to stand out against everything else, even though I add a lot of glass later on. There is still quite a bit of white concrete involved in this build. I then went and did these outlined bits in the quartz so that it would make sense for the quartz to actually be both on the walls and on the floor. Just so that it actually looked like it was leading into the build. I then go around and top it all off with a nice sheet of stone brick walls. Nope, just stone bricks. Stone brick walls are another thing that you'll see later on. And just fill in that centre. Oh my god, why did I do such a big build? I'm losing. At this point, I was losing my mind a little bit, trying to figure out whether this needed to be bigger or not. I decided it did not need to be bigger. I then went and added a bit of decoration on the floor. Realised I'd screwed up 2 of these walls, so I then had to go and fix the wall. Luckily, I figured out I could just cut and paste and then add the blocks I needed to. I felt quite smart for realising that. Again, using that white concrete because at this point I was starting to realise, oh wait, the white concrete would have been a better choice. Who king knew? Anyway, once I'm done pissing about with my walls, and really I should have turned clouds off, but it wasn't bothering me. What a great streamer I am. I can't. Oh wait, no. There you go, clouds off. I finally got fed up with them. So then I had pre-drawn this with the idea of doing these pillars with like a... oh, what would it be called? A sliding roof, like slanted roof even, sorry, not sliding, I'm so stupid. But, so I started by just using the blocks, just to get that general shape, adding some white glass, because as I said, I needed these to be towers that could see over the outside walls, which they ended up doing very nicely, especially those back two, because I don't break those back two, for doorways. So they actually just get to stay as entire glass structuring. There was so much, like, I don't actually know what biome I was in, but it was constantly snowing and raining. It was such a pain. This is when I started to play around with glass to add the... again, to add another aspect that this build wasn't just blocks, that it had some integrity, some shape, and I was using the actual glass stained blocks this time around because I felt that they had the best impact when doing such a structural part of the build, whereas later on you will see me use some of the panes. So following on from that, I don't know what I'm doing at this point. I just started messing around, adding some extra blocks, and just repeating what I'd done on those first two windows around the entire of this. This later on does end up becoming a bedroom, so I don't know if people would want this to be bedrooms, but of course I got 4 rooms out there, so you could probably get 8 if you like halved the rooms down the centre, but you know, this is meant to be a castle built for royalty, so you know, build it however you want. In all honesty, this is just a guideline for you to follow, considering that it's going that fast that you guys probably can't even see what is going on, and half of you probably can't even understand what I'm saying, and you're just here to listen to the sound of a female voice. So now you can see that it's starting to take shape a little bit. It's got these funky dips, these corner points, still extremely blocky at this point. And then again, just to break it up and use I didn't think that I would ever use white as such an important colour for contrasting, but between the quartz being such a pale rosy pink, like, I mean, if you aren't paying attention you probably wouldn't notice, but I had to stare at this freaking quartz for hours on end, and also comparing it next to that white, you can see how pink it actually looks. Like, it looks skin toned. If it wasn't for the fact that it has seams in it, it would be perfect for building like characters and stuff like that. But anyway, so to add a bit more structure, again, I am using this roof for a lot of structure, because who knows, you're going to be flying onto this roof at however many miles per hour you're going with your Elytra, and you don't have time to stop, but you still want people to, as they're flying by, think, wow, look at the castle, it's so graciously designed, how did they plan that out? It must have taken them ages to get such an intricate shape. And nope, all you used is, at this point, 3 different blocks, and you are sticking to a very grey grey scale palette. Like, literally, besides the bedrooms, I had like next to no colour in this build, so I later on I do pop in some paintings. I kind of got fed up with paintings, so I was ignoring them for the most part. I thought they looked stupid. Goddamn snow was being a pain in my butt. This is like a good like couple of minutes every time you see me pausing. So at this point you can see there's a bunch of snow in my house. I then realised, holy crap, it is dark in here. So then I popped some glass in, taking it right up to that seam allowance there. Yes, that is what I'm deciding to call the edge brick before you actually get into the foundation or the roofing section. I'm just going to call it the seam. I then tried to copy it for some god awful known reason, because I was stupidly thinking that copying it and rotating it would be easier than trying to just get it to do what I wanted. I then realised this isn't working, I need a different plan. So I did this one by hand for some stupid reason. Why I did not think to just do the select and change, I honestly don't know. I do add some more windows in slightly later on, because I realised that it's still extremely dark, but I don't do that for quite a bit. At this point, I started fixing and fiddling with the roof, trying to make it look even, not asymmetrical. This is not a roof that is meant to be asymmetrical. You know, this is a very precise build. Like, I screwed up 1 or 2 blocks and it completely changed the design for some bits. You know, nothing too major, but if you knew what was going on, you knew what was going on and you realised that you made a mistake. I'm not going to notice the mistake. If you notice my mistake and notice what bit it's at, put it down in the comments, and if you're correct, then, I don't know, I will play a game of Hypixel murder mystery with you or something. I don't know. If you can get it right, I'll play whatever game mode you want in Hypixel or any other server. I then was going to do this kind of roof, which you'll see I very quickly cut out because I hated this roof. I was going to do like a spiral roof, but then I realised I'm going for a semi-modern build here. That roof isn't going to work, so as you can see, that very crappy transition and just getting rid of all of that. I don't know why, but for me, when I think about futuristic or modern, I think tall structures, empire building, very pointy, so I went for like this, I don't even know what you'd call it, I don't know, these pointed, extended point corners with this, I don't even know how I would explain this, with a staircase slant roof. And then go in and add some stone brick and some stone slabs, just so that it's not all quartz up there, because that quartz was an eyesore when it got to that much. So just to break it up, I used that grey colour, and then I took and then I realised too much grey, but not enough grey at the same time. So then I went for a compromise and I did some quartz slabs over the stone bricks. I then added some even more windows to this top section, because the top section needed to be very bright and voluptuous. Now, I would actually turn this central area maybe into either a common room or maybe even a throne room if you want to do that, or maybe a big meeting room. I don't know. I kind of kept most of this build open for whatever you want to do with it. You know, you can structure the rooms however you want. I kind of just did them a bit more organised, you know, following from one floor to the other, just because it made my life a little bit easier. But of course you don't have to stick to that. Now I really dig that that little cake top. I just thought it looked really cute. I then went and popped in and got rid of all of the snow inside, and this is when I started to build my floors, my walls, and I started to actually lose my mind and wonder if it was worth doing this or whether I should just drop the project. I decided to have my outside area, I guess, the gap between my inner and outer wall, to be 3 wide. I was trying to do that all the way around, and then I realised, no, can't do that. So then I just went and did it on the outside and did the other ones, I think, all 2 blocks wide, because that worked. I was then using night vision because I wasn't quite sure how my rooms were going to build at this point, so of course I was trying to keep myself available to change stuff. Popping on a lot of night vision just so that I could see what I was doing. I then tried to keep a nice gap on the outskirt bit as well. I don't know quite how to explain it. Sorry, I am very tired at this point. It is like 9:30 and I am apparently just a really old human being. I then just was, again, at this point I'm still fiddling around with my walls. I was kind of losing the will to live, like, deeply at this point. Like, if anyone else has ever built anything really, really big and you've been trying to fill it every single space, trying to make lots of rooms, trying to make them all accessible without having to go through 10 of the other rooms, you know, trying to make these hallways and... you know what I mean when I say it is one of the biggest pains in the arse. It's probably the least favourite part of my build, of any build, is actually trying to come up with rooms. I love building exteriors, I love decorating, I love adding all of the tidbits. You know, I can take a pre-built building and decorate it and change it so that it's my style and I dig it and it looks cool. But you ask me to take a husk of a building and add all the rooms, I just, you know, I don't dig that. So next on, again, because I felt like I had a kind of boring build, I went around and anywhere where it was 2 or 3 blocks wide, I started doing these stone brick walls, because it just added, whilst it kept that same colour, it added that little bit of, what's it called? Optical illusion, because of the shadow and the shape. You know, it just adds the impression that the wall had a lot more texture, and like that it was carved into, that it was decorated without having to be decorated. I then made places for some waterfalls, and my gosh, these waterfalls took me way too long. I started by trying to create a glass, almost like fishbowl, which I was planning on doing. I don't even know. I don't know why I thought a giant glass fishbowl thing was a good idea. I just did for some reason. This took me at least a good like half an hour to make, and then when I realised it wouldn't work, it was like, frick, this looks dumb. It probably would have looked better had I actually waited and tried to use my Optifine, but of course not everybody has Optifine, not everybody wants to use Optifine, not everybody wants to download it. So I was trying, when I was actually building, to, I don't know, keep to like a normal thing, you know, no texture packs, no special thing, nothing like that. And so I thought a fishbowl would be a cool idea. It didn't work out in the specific case. Maybe if I'd built the structure a bit lower down, it would have worked better. But after I removed the glass, I basically made it a bit like a crater and filled it up with water. I thought it looked fairly cool, and then I added some extra little fountains in the background just so that it didn't look like it was just that water. I wanted to, like, kind of like what I'd done with the lava, where it actually looked like it comes out the ground. Of course, you get those water sources in the ground. And then again, I removed a huge chunk of ground, filling in a ton of it as well. I realised that I'd screwed up the water there. I don't bother with that water. That water isn't important to me. I then sat and did terraforming. This only took me like 10 minutes because I'm quite quick with natural terraforming. It doesn't take me very long, especially when I've already got a structure to work off of. It's a very easy thing to do. What you want is you don't want it to be perfectly symmetrical. You don't want it to all look the same. You don't want it to be perfectly staircase. You want a couple of blocks where they're 2 blocks high or 3 blocks high and missing blocks and that kind of stuff, you know? And then I screwed up the water, so then I had to go in and fix all the water. So you can see here that I left a large amount of that grass block there, readily accessible, very open, you know, just because I thought it looked better. Then I just went in and fiddled with the shit. As I say, the terraforming, I wanted it to look kind of natural, going down to the beach. So I just kind of did the more normal Minecraft terraforming. Then I dug down a little bit so that when I did the water, it wouldn't mess up like it did before. Now this side was a bit more difficult because I couldn't get that essential bit. Like I did on the other one, but it was whatever. It looked good. I liked it. And then I added, then I removed a bit of that dirt there that you saw. So once that was done, I moved on to adding a little bit of that texture to that front door where it dipped in, and to smooth out around that, and just to incorporate the white and the quartz a bit better, I added some smooth quartz stairs around the edge of that white concrete barrier, just because it kind of looked a bit nicer sandwiched in, and also it made the white stand out a lot more. Okay, I messed out kind of. Jesus, I do apologise. I am rather tired apparently. And then I added the stone on the bottom just because I thought it looked good. Then I was trying to figure out what to do with the walls. Now that I had actually gotten the shape of the walls that I wanted. Oh my god, this took forever. Like, honestly, I feel like I shouldn't even be showing this bit, but I feel like I kind of need to show it a little bit. So I started by wanting to do this, like, weird pattern, and then I decided to just do this pattern instead, one and the other, one and the other. The smooth stone and the stone brick work quite well because they're 2 different shades of grey. Wow, that was laggy. So the 2 shades of grey, I think they just work really well together, because again, it's keeping that grayscale tone, obviously, but it's still incorporating multiple shades, multiple layers. Now, whilst you can't see this externally, besides through the windows, you can see it internally, and it really does make an impact. Maybe in the future I'd do like 2 block wide, just because 1 block wide, in some places it did look a bit funny, but then again, same could be said for 2 block wide. You know, if you end up with a 3 block wide space, it's gonna look a bit odd. I left the white on the corners though, just because I thought, well, why not? I just thought it looked good. I was digging it, so I kept with it. There was just a lot of this back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It did my head in. Just waiting. So this took me ages. And when I say ages, I mean ages. But you don't have to worry about seeing any of that because, well, it took a long time. So next, because I decided to do this into a castle instead of a prison, which really, with this colour palette and the style of build that I did, it really could have gone either way. But I decided to do this instead because it worked better. Then I was trying to figure out how to incorporate the thing there, but because of how I'd done it, it didn't work. The banner looked weird, so instead I went for the H's to be above and below each other, because it doesn't matter where they are, it just matters how they are made. Next I went in and added some windows because I decided that there needed to be more light. So at this point I thought the square windows looked boring as shit, and I realised that they made my build look even blockier. So I started by doing this kind of, I don't know what you call it, outline for the windows, I guess. These straight shapes. And then I started doing these X's with the glass, which I thought looked quite good, and later on it actually does help me with my lighting situation in implementing my lighting. And then just doing this like little roundish, not quite round, I don't know what you call it, rounded triangle shape. Guinea pigs do not stop. Then here, this was the back wall, I believe, or is this the side wall? One of the walls, which I'm pretty sure is the back wall, it didn't have the same like length as the side walls. So I was trying to figure out what to do, and I decided on rounding it down because having these oval shapes, I thought it really looked quite cool, and it gave a bit of a different shape on the back, which I just thought looked nice. I was originally going to go for the right oval shape, but I thought the kind of circles looked alright. I don't know what I'm doing at this point. Yes, and I'm doing a staircase now, again with a mixture of stone slabs and smooth stair slabs, and oh my god, what am I saying? I don't even know what I'm saying, alright? Just cut me some slack. So, yeah, I just did this all the way up to the top for the front two, and for the back two, because of the way that they were built, I couldn't really go all the way to the back without it looking a bit funny. So instead I only did it to the second floor, or the first floor if you're British. And yeah. I then started adding the pillars, so I can introduce some lighting into the build without it getting in the actual way of the slabs. Not like you can really see me placing it, but I did it like every 3 blocks with like then a 2 block gap, on the top and the bottom or something like that, I think. It took me quite a few attempts to actually get it right, but I managed to eventually, and it looks quite nice. I bet it looked really good with like a dynamic lighting mod or something. So then moving on, I don't even know what to say. Honestly, at this point, it's kind of just rinse and repeat, you know, adding staircases, adding pillars, you know, that kind of stuff. Good stuff, good stuff. Then I decided that the whatever the hell you call these, they didn't look right. So then I added some wood. This point is where I started adding a lot of lighting. Like, in all honesty, I don't even know what to say. So I added that light there, and then I wanted a fountain in the middle. So that's exactly what I did. I did a fountain in the middle. And then I added even more light. I really don't know what to say. Yeah, at this point I was just adding glowstone everywhere because I realised that I still had night vision on and it was going to be super dark. I then created some lava features inside because I was bored of water. Water looked boring on its own, so I added some lava because I'm a masochist in Minecraft apparently. I then went and added a trim. I then got some freaking coral and popped that in there because why the hell not. Then I added paintings everywhere which look ugly as shit, and if I could be asked I would go and remove them. I then went and popped some dark oak wood doors around the building just because dark oak wood, it was a nice contrast to all the greys, boring colours. I don't know, it was just very vibrant. And then for the inside doors, I did the spruce wood doors just so that you would realise they were a different kind of door. Also because they look a bit heavier, a bit more private. And then for the bedrooms, each person got their own colour. Again, because I really wanted something really bright and eye-catching on this top section. So they just got a bed, some shulker boxes, and then some banisters so that you would know whose bedroom was whose. Then I went and added a ton of light on the Jesus Christ, I can't think. I honestly cannot think. On the outside, just to make it like really glowy. Then a shit ton of torches followed suit on the outside walls because I realised that mobs would spawn there too. So smart of me to realise that. Yeah, both on the inside and the outside of the walls. And once that was done, I did it on the stairs as well. And then because I didn't want to bulk up the top of the wall, I then went around and did half slabs because mobs can't spawn on half slabs. So if you want to save on lighting and stuff, build on half slabs. I then went and added the ladders into the other towers because these towers are kind of the ones where people are going to sit for ages. They aren't really going to be moving around a lot, checking people's IDs and shit, you know, like the front gates will. I then, once I'd completed all of these, went round and did a white concrete path. Once I actually get round to that. yeah, so I just did a concrete path around the edge of my wall, sticking to the wall for pretty much all of it except for the one tiny bit next to the towers, just because it looked a bit funky, gave it a bit more dimension. And also it looked like a more general path that people would actually walk. I then did this weird like thing, which you'll see in a second, where I took the glass. Now at this point I was using Optifine because I reloaded my game like a bunch of times, and I took some slabs and I used the slabs to kind of encase the glass a little bit and to create this weird effect on that like roofed section, so that as you walk through you would see it and you would go, ooh, this looks really funky. I then went around the outskirt of the building and just added a bunch of glowstone, which I then go and attack with lava because, again, masochistic. Maybe you could add some like trees or something if you're like feeling floral, but I was not feeling floral at all. I wanted lava fountains. What can I say? Lava fountains. I think that's all I should have to say. And a couple of lava pools. Again, all I should have to say. But no, in all honesty, I just thought the lava worked really nicely next to the glowstone. And then doing the outskirt of the build with some water. Again, I just thought it looked a bit nice to add those bright colours. I then went in and did the interior with some stuff, just to give you an idea of what you could put in some rooms, some libraries. I think I do a dining hall next to this room, like a small little dining hall. Again, using those deep, rich colours, just for the aesthetic, because of course you got a very grayscale build, so having those bright, rich colours really helps. And as I said, I kind of left this to your interpretations of what you want to do with it. And at this point I kind of just was done. So I also tried to make a piano. I should have watched a tutorial on how to make a piano. It looked stupid. Anyway, this was the end of my build, and if you like it, make sure to like and subscribe so that you know when I'm next releasing some videos.
Alright, I want to see all your pickaxes in the air and sing this one with me. Are you ready? Here we go. We digging all the time and you know we won't stop. We getting diamonds, man, yeah, you know them big rocks. You playing peaceful while I'm the school of hard knocks. Group fighting every day, call that survival block. Creepers trying to do me dirty, they won't smirk long. Just ask Captain Sparkles about that Fort Simon sauce. Just ask the Nana Man, Schwarzenegger, Arnold. There's no point running, man, what you think this arrow's for? Sky's the limit, we be building, this is our home. Another day, another structured world that we own. There's no grief in here, cause you see that gravel road? I'll leave it painted with your blood, redstone. Now we building whole cities, what do you know? You still stuck playing with your daddy's Legos. I'm getting busy, diggy like Lucifos. A step ahead, another class, always a notch above. You make a shack to live in, I make the Taj Mahal. You chopping down a tree, I made a Pokeball. You a soft, break apart like a clay block. I'm solid like a golden ore, I got this game unlocked. If you're crafting and you know it, put your hands in the air. Wanna see you swing your pickaxe like you don't really care. Came to dig, do it big, block billionaire. If you're crafting and you know it, put your hands in the air. Oh no,
this again. Gotta take a sec, kill a pig again. Deal with the creeper and his hits to sin, and I'm gonna get revenge like a tsunami. We're a father-son relationship. I'm the block and you're just the chip, and these boxes are my currency, so I'm always stacking mine like Pringle chip. From the sea until the desert, this is my reality. From the caves until the nether, it's my world to oversee. This might seem like something special, but we do this every day. This is my land made with my hand. This is Minecraft and I came to dig.
I came to dig. Woo!
I came to I came to
What you know about Minecraft?